everyone. Hope you're all having a good week. Welcome to this week's Dollhouse Diary. Holly says hello. This is my pain in the butt dog. But she's cute. And cute is what saves her, right? Cute is what saves you. Yes. Okay, so I don't have a lot of things to show you, but I did have a pretty productive week, I felt. So one of the things I did was I ordered a chair kit. I think I actually might have ordered that last week, but it is now on the way. It wasn't shipped immediately because the owner of the Etsy shop where I got it from was at a show in Philadelphia, actually. But the kit is coming from a European store, and I'm sorry, I'm not remembering off the top of my head which store or where it was. But when the kit comes in, obviously, I will list the name of the store and tell you about it, and probably do a video showing the work on the kit, which hopefully will go really well. Because I'm waiting on the chair, I have not yet installed the lamp in the housekeeper's room. The chair kit that I ordered, the chair is, I'm planning to have that sit right here, and then the lamp will be installed to get my hand out of the way, be next to the chair here. And I just, it's probably an excuse because I always dread doing the electric stuff, but I don't want to put the lamp in until I have the chair there and can see, how it looks and where exactly I want to put the lamp. The other thing I was thinking about doing was putting some lighting either above or on either side of the mirror in there. And I think I'm not going to do that, because once I do that, let's say I have 2 lights, one on either side of the mirror. That's then 5 lights, because we have one, the ceiling light, the desk light, the light that's going to go next to the chair, and then there would be 2 there. And while I personally like a lot of light in my rooms, I like things to be bright. The house is set approximately 1928. And I just don't really think there would have been that much lighting in any room in a house at that point in time. Electricity was new, lighting, relatively new compared to now. It would have probably been a bit expensive to both install and then to run. It would have been still seen for some people as more of a luxury. Not everywhere in 1928, not everywhere in the country had electricity. Not every house had electricity. So I just don't think it quite fits the era of the house to have 5 different lights in the housekeeper's room. So I'm going to pass on putting any lighting next to her mirror. And again, that may also be a little bit of an excuse because I don't like dealing with the electrics. But I do think it makes sense to limit the number of lights in that room a little bit. I will be putting some more lighting in the bathroom. I plan to put some lighting and a mirror over the sink. So I'm not really getting out of putting lights on either side of a mirror. I'm just doing it in a different room. So I'm closing in on the last of the things that I want to do for that room. It's really the chair, installing the lamp, and then one other little thing that I'm working on, which I'll come back to. In other news, I have been working on another braided rug. So here's the back of it. So it looks kind of wonky because this is where all the stitching is. And I felt like this one was going a lot quicker, and I was like, why am I, suddenly able to get so much of this done so quickly? And then I realized that I had started this one using size 5 cotton, and I don't know if that was deliberate. I thought I was doing my other rugs in size 5 cotton, or maybe I had just switched that idea in my mind, but I was actually doing them in size 8. And so here's one in size 8, and it's very fine. I think it looks really good, but this rug took 17 hours, and I have to charge a lot of money to make it worth my time to sell this rug. So when I realized I was looking at, was doing this one in a larger size cotton, I kind of peeled up a little bit of it to look off the tape here, and I still think it looks quite good in the larger size. And if I work in this size, I can get this done. I mean, I swear it's going about twice as fast, which means that I can now offer the rugs at a lower, hopefully more appealing price point, because the size 8 cotton rugs are just of necessity to pay for my work, being, you know, and that's paying myself like the bare minimum, what minimum wage would be where I live. It just made the rugs really expensive. So to that end, I am going to mark down the rugs that I have listed, which means that I'm going to make a lot less money than I should on them when they sell, given the labor, but I'm going to call that my learning curve, and I'm going to continue making the rugs in the future with the size 5 cotton, because I still think it looks good and it goes up much quicker, and I can then, you know, get compensated a little more reasonably for my work. It's still a labor mostly of love. It's still barely minimum wage, but it's okay. It's something that I do that I find very relaxing, and I often watch a favorite TV show or listen to an audiobook or watch a movie or something like that on my laptop while I'm doing it. So it actually kind of relaxes me. So that's the value, part of the value in doing those rugs. What else? So I have been adding some items to the shop. I have kind of a backlog of things that I had not yet listed in the shop because I needed to photograph them. There are several steps involved in listing things in the Etsy shop, and I find it a little tedious, so I don't tend to just sit down and, you know, do 10 new items when I have them. It's kind of like, oh, I'll get one done today, one done tomorrow. But I am trying to get them all in there because Christmas season is upon us. That's hopefully going to be a good shopping season for my shop, and yeah, so I need to get those listings in. On the subject of listings, here are some photos of the recent listings and a few others. And as you can see, I'm using a very simple natural wood backdrop for my photos, and I don't love it. I like the look of sort of a consistent backdrop for the photos in an Etsy shop. I just think it gives it a really nice sort of clean appearance when you call up an Etsy shop and you see sort of a consistent look to the items in the shop. I like to shop. I know I'm always drawn to shops that have that sort of consistent look. But I just think this is a bit boring, and so I've been kind of spending some time, and this is why I don't have a lot to show you, just sort of looking at other images that I liked and trying to think, you know, what might I do to sort of step up a level of the photography for my shop. So to that end, I ordered a bit of Dollhouse wallpaper. I ordered a window and a little potted tree. I think I may try to order a shade or some curtains or something, just because I don't really want to fuss right now with trying to make it myself. If I can find something ready-made, I think I may do that just to try to get this done quickly. And I'm going to try to set up a little bit of a newer look for my photographies so that I can photograph the things kind of looking as if they're in a simple room. I tried to keep the colors very neutral. I don't want the colors that I'm going to go with to distract from the objects that I'm photographing, so I'm trying to do sort of a soft muted background, but just something that looks a little bit nicer than the plain wood. So when those things, I think everything's been shipped or is about to ship, so when those things come in, I'll be playing around with my photography setup, and then hopefully next week or the week after I can show you what I've come up with, and you can let me know what you think. It will mean re-photographing everything that's in the shop. Probably won't happen all at once, probably won't even happen very quickly. I'll be just kind of doing it over a period of time as I get the opportunity to play with my photos a little bit. The other thing that I've spent some time doing is I've been online a little bit looking for some photographs of bathrooms from the mid to late 1920s. This is hard. I normally find a lot of photos on like Alamy. Getty Photos is another one. And I don't buy the photos because I'm not doing anything production-wise with them, but I'll just take screenshots of photos of rooms from the era to get ideas and print them out for myself. But people don't photograph their bathrooms a lot. Think about it. Have you photographed your bathroom much? Have you taken many photographs in your bathroom? Probably not. So I really didn't find as many ideas for the bathroom as I was hoping, but I did. One of the things I wanted to do was figure out what to do about a medicine cabinet or mirror. And I am seeing that medicine cabinets didn't really seem to be a thing. It was just mirrors mounted on the wall. So I will be looking at mirrors, possibly making a mirror, depending on what design I decide to go with in there. And then putting up some lighting. And then I just want to clutter up the bathroom with some things like towels, bath bubbles, toiletries, a hairbrush. A lot of the bathroom images that I looked at had vanities in them, but I don't think I have room for that. But I'll talk about the bathroom more in another video. So, again, that was something that kind of took up some of my time. There's nothing to show you, but it did feel productive to me to try to kind of streamline my ideas for what I wanted to do to get back into the third floor bathroom and finish it up a little bit. I've also just barely begun to look at some ideas for the girls' bedroom, which is the last room on the third floor and where I hope to go to next after I finish that third floor bathroom. The last thing that I want to show you is this teeny tiny little cross stitch project. I hope that's, yeah. So this is the last decorative sort of thing I'm working on for the housekeeper's room. Now, I will do more discussion of this in another video, but this is not going to be truly to scale because truly to scale would be microscopic and therefore impossible. But I do think that I'm going to be able to come up with something that will do the job and will not look too out of place or out of scale in the room in the end. I'm having a lot of fun doing it. I enjoy that kind of stitching. I am a little frustrated because what I'm using is regular sewing thread. And as you probably know, if you're at all involved in sewing or crafting or anything, but the Joann stores are gone, and that was my source for thread. Now I do have a fairly extensive sewing thread collection that I've collected over the years. But even so, I didn't really have the colors that I wanted for this. I'm kind of making do with the colors that I have. I have heard that Michaels, and I do have one near me, that Michaels is going to be having some sewing thread and embroidery floss and things. The Michaels near me has had a little bit of that. I haven't been back in there to see if supposedly they're going to be catering more towards sewing. I don't know where they're going to put this in my Michaels shop. It's already full. There's no space for it. I don't know what they would have to get rid of something to do it. But I have not been back in there recently enough to see if they actually truly do have more thread in there. I suspect not. The last time I checked, which was not terribly long ago, but after I had heard that they were going to be doing the sewing stuff in there, they really didn't have much in there. So I can get threads from various sites online. I find it difficult to choose colors online. You just never quite know what you're really getting in the end. So I'm working with the colors that I have, and I'm hoping it's going to be okay. I may end up pulling some of this out and restitching it and ordering some threads online after all to get some slightly different colors, but we'll see. So I think that's everything that I have to report for this week. I feel pretty good about the amount of things I've gotten done. I think it's going to be difficult for the remaining weeks of this year to have a lot to report on or a lot to get done because we're now getting into holiday crunch season. We are expecting my daughter and her boyfriend for a few days for Thanksgiving. And so they will be sleeping in my office because that's where the only guest bed is, so I won't be able to really get in here. And of course there's, you know, the holiday things to do, and then there's the wrapping and the cookie baking and the decorating, and, you know, before you know it, Christmas is here. So, so I think my Dollhouse diaries are up to be very short for the next few weeks, but I'm going to try because it's a little bit necessary for my sanity that I get to do a little bit of this a few times a week. So I hope you all have a good rest of your week and are getting some good Dollhouse therapy. Let me know what kinds of things you're working on. If you go over to my Facebook page, Tulip Tree Miniatures, which is not terribly active, I often forget to post things on there, but I would love to have you maybe if you want to comment. I don't know if you can actually post things on there. I don't think you can, but I think you can comment with photos and show me some of the things that you're working on. I really need to get up to speed on my Facebook usage, so all in good time. But I would love to know what you're working on, and I don't think it's possible for you to send me photos or post photos in YouTube comments. But I know you can send me photos in Messenger on Facebook, and then possibly I can share those photos for you. I'd love to see the different things that you're working on. So, as I said, hope you're all having a good week and lots of good Dollhouse therapy. Take care. Bye-bye.